Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. This is Carol Parisi. Jack Roser and myself today are speaking with Representative Tom Morrison. And Tom, during the break, we were talking about the Senate bill that was brought up just before they shut down the session, and it was the three-part system. Could you please talk a little bit about that for us?
If we don't fix the unfunded liability in pensions, we're not going to fix the budget. It just, the pension liability is growing and growing. You have the baby boomers, the state workers, the teachers are retiring, and early retirement is an option. You have, I don't know how much time we have to go into this, but it's a fact that the state did miss some of its payments. But there are other factors as well that have led to this unfunded liability. Life expectancies are longer now, which is a good thing. I mean, you don't want people to die, but the fact is a teacher who's starting today very well could live into the 80s or 90s.
My cohort, when it started, was their life expectancy was 20 years. Now the life expectancy is 30 years more than when I started. And yet they've been moving back the starting date. It used to be people would retire at 65, and then they got to 62 with some of the federal stuff. But the teaching people have moved it back to 55. People are living longer and longer, healthy lives. They could well be working to 65 or 70 today more easily than they could work to 62 years ago. But look what they have done to the pension system that were based on people retiring and having only a small number of years to live in retirement. Now they've got 30 more years. And yet these people in the union have driven it back with crazy schemes to being able to retire at age 55 if you're a teacher. Well, that system is plain bankrupt, and all of that's going to go down the tubes unless it's reformed.
Well, the bottom line is the retirement system or the retirement program that is offered today is a more generous program because it allows for continued and increased payments in retirement with a longer life expectancy. Spousal benefits have been added. The cost of living increase is 3%.
Health benefits have been added to it.
So it has been enhanced. It's been enhanced, but the participants in that system have not been asked to contribute more. They do or have been contributing 9.5%, but they're now getting a better retirement package, but have not been asked to pay for that better package. And so Senate Bill 512 would have said, look, if you're in the system now, you have to pay more so that that retirement system can be solvent years from now. It would not have touched current retirees. So you know, those who are already out of their working or have finished their career, doesn't affect them. But there's you know, hundreds of thousands of people who are now in the system now, can contribute more, and yes, they're going to complain about it, but do we want to? They're going to benefit from it, and I reject the notion that this is the argument I hear from some. We're not qualifying for Social Security, and my answer is you should be thankful that you're not in Social Security.
Social insecurity. Now I know there was like a 401 defined contribution. I know that we lobbied for that. Our group, the Great Awakening, in collaboration with Americans for Prosperity, we went to the citizens just like you did, knocked door to door, and said, we have this pension reform bill. Let's have some good policy put into place. Explain to me about the
what you are talking about is a good idea, but the trouble with it is that was turned into a reform and a solution, supposedly, for the problem we've got. The matter of fact, if they had started what you're talking about 30 years ago, we would now first be receiving the benefits of it. So the benefits of what you're talking about are 30 years off from the present.
No. This particular bill would have been enacted immediately, where people could have started contributing to a 401.
But it wouldn't be building the money to put the thing into effect, and the benefits are 30 years out when the payments will be made. If you and I want to start a pension system today, as smart politicians, we'll say, oh, let's be head of the any unit of government in Illinois, and we're going to give ourselves $500,000 a year pensions. And the Constitution says once we put that in place that nobody can reduce it. That's the crazy thing we're in. And something akin to that is what we have got. Instead, you know, if we did put that in place, we wouldn't have to pay for it for 20 or 30 years. We can conjure up any crazy pension scheme we want, and it doesn't affect the present time. It affects your spending occurs years later. And so now the calamity of all these decisions that they made by this union and by these politicians working in concert, the calamity of all that pile of debt has arrived.
Our financial
and there's no way to pay that. And any scheme to change it that doesn't hit on the ones that are getting this monster pile of money. That is where the debt is at, is the people that they claim now they can't stop paying. Well, what's going to make them stop paying? Who in hell is going to pay it?
Tom,
whose pocket is that coming out of? Can't happen.
Are we talking apples and apples here?
Why don't we, we'll get into it in the next break, because I want to make a point that it's in the best interest of all parties, the workers, the taxpayers. It's in the best interest of the state for all parties involved to fix this problem before it gets worse.
It's always good to do better. We are going to talk on how we're going to do better after the break.